There are two types of cell references: relative cell references and absolute cell references. In this video, we'll be looking at what is absolute cell reference with examples. Before now, we've made a video on relative cell references. Go ahead to watch it up there on your screen now, or check the description. What is absolute cell referencing? Absolute cell referencing is one that does not change when it is moved, copied, or filled across a row or down a column. This way, the reference points back to the same cell no matter where it appears in the workbook. It is indicated by a $sign in the column or row coordinate. You can see it as an address or pointer that does not change. So continuing with the example we had while explaining what relative cell referencing is. This is the catering invoice for Sweet, Delicious and More catering services. And we were able to use relative cell referencing to calculate the sales for this particular catering invoice. Eventually, a tax is applied to all sales and the rate of the tax is 7.5%. So in order to carry out the calculation for the sales tax, we need to reference the cell where the tax rate is absolutely. The cell where the tax rate is from our name box is cell F2. Does that make sense? The cell where the tax rate is from our name box is cell F2. So how do we carry out this calculation to find out the sales tax? What we have to do is to hit what? Equal to the sales multiplied by our tax rate. Our tax rate is what? F2. But one other thing that you must do to reference this cell absolutely is to include the $sign in front of your F and the $sign also in front of your 2. And you notice that this is now referenced absolutely. Okay, now a very faster way of doing this is to hit F4 on your keyboard or function F4 on your keyboard. So you select the cell depending on your laptop settings. So before you can apply the $sign with the keyboard shortcut, you make sure that your cell is selected, in this case F2. You hold down function and you hit F4 on your keyboard. So some computers will only allow you to press F4, but that is not the case on my computer. So make sure you test out before carrying out this. So once my cell has been referenced absolutely, I'll now hit enter. So I will now be able to see my sales tax. Is all right. So once I copy this particular formula down the column, you will notice that the calculation is done for me automatically. I can quickly double click this place to autofill and the formula will be replicated accordingly. But I want you to pay attention to what is happening here. So in the formula bar, you have what? The first formula says what? D4 multiplied by F2, but the F2 is referenced absolutely. So if I go down the column, you notice that what? The next formula is what? D5 multiplied by what? Still F2. So this is trying to tell you that the F2 is absolutely what? Referenced. The formula does not change while we go down the column in this case. So this is multiplied by F2. So F2 is constant. So absolute cell referencing always find application in situations like this, where we have a particular number that must be multiplied consistently throughout the whole calculation, especially when tax rate is being applied to goods sold. Hope this helps. So for some of us that might be wondering what is the line total. So the line total has been calculated before now so that it's what? Your unit price multiplied by the quantity, then everything plus your what? Your tax. That is the line total. Because eventually if you are paying tax for sales tax, then your line total is the sum of everything together. Hope you got value in this video. So we'll be looking at another example that help us to understand absolute cell referencing. So in this video, we also have something similar to what we have before now. In this case, it's what? Catering invoice, but we have some other type of what? Items that this particular caterer want to purchase. So in the same vein, to get our sales tax, you just have to hit what? Select the cell equal to your sales multiplied by the tax rate, and you should hit enter. Now you go ahead to select the cell and add the $ to make these cells absolutely reference, either hitting function F4 or you can add it up manually. All right, so once this is done, you hit enter. Now you go ahead to copy the formula down the column, and you notice that your answer will just be very, very correct. So just like we've seen before now, when you go down the column, you notice that your formula changes, but the cell that is referenced absolutely does not change. So D4 in this case is relatively cell referenced, but $F, $2 is absolutely cell reference, or cell F2 is absolutely cell reference. So when we go down, you notice that what? The D5 changes, but F2 does not change because it's absolutely cell referenced. Hope you got value in this video. If you do, go ahead to smash that subscribe button. Also like and share this video. You can also turn on your notification to be the first to get updates when we release videos like this. On our next video, we'll be explaining what mixed cell referencing is all about. Also, go ahead to watch the video on your screen now that shows you how to use Microsoft Excel relative cell referencing. Excel made easy.